how can I get this? What can I do?
That's the most common question. It's like, how can I, an individual, a separate self, grasp this freedom? How can I, an individual, grasp something that's beyond the individual? So this question, how, it rests on this faulty assumption that there is a separate self. And actually all questions, how do I, when will it happen for me, how, when, why, what, every question really rests on this assumption of separation, and really it's that sense of being separate, that sense of not quite being whole, that's fueling all of these questions. And the mind wants something to do. That's why it asks, what can I do? What can I do to get this? It's desperate for something to do. And it will rally against this. It will fight this. This will infuriate the mind, because its little games are being seen through. So it's really the wrong question. What can I do? And it's not that there's nothing you can do, because that's sometimes how the message of non-duality is heard. That it's about giving up, or it's about sitting back and not doing anything. It's about giving up the search. It's like, if there's nothing to do, I should just give up. That's how the mind hears it. But it's missed the point entirely. We've missed the point entirely. It's not that there's nothing you can do. And it's not that you should go off and give up your spiritual practices, and give up meditation, and give up self-inquiry. It's that already it's being done. Already oneness, or whatever you want to call it, oneness, or awareness, consciousness, already oneness is doing this. Already we are not doing this. You see, the mind thinks it's in control. The mind says, I'm a person, I'm sitting here on a chair, I'm talking, I'm doing this. I'm breathing, my heart's beating, me. So there's always this assumption of me. There's always this assumption of me at the centre of my life. So the mind, it doesn't want to lose that control, because losing that control to the mind is death. So this message won't give anything to the mind. It won't feed it. It won't feed that sense of separation.
So it seems as if I've heard you correctly, that you're suggesting there is no choice, no doer.
And that can't be understood by the that can't be understood by the individual. How can a person understand that they have no choice? They can't. What I'm saying is that this can be seen. This can be seen in absolute clarity, that there is no choice in this. There's no choice in this. That this is happening, this is being done, this is oneness appearing as this body, appearing as trees and flowers, and there is no separate self, there is no separate me who is doing this. There is no separate me who is thinking, there's just thoughts happening. There's no separate me who is talking, there's just sounds coming out. There's no separate me who is breathing, breathing is happening. So, in other words, oneness is breathing, oneness is talking, oneness is thinking. So this goes against everything that we're taught, everything that we believe, and we think that we're in control. And actually, what this message is pointing to, that already, this is just happening, and you're not separate from it. You're not separate from it, but that can't be seen until it's seen. Trying to understand that you have no choice. It's just impossible. I spent years trying to understand this. Trying to understand that I have no choice, trying to understand that I didn't exist, trying to understand. So there's this constant attempt to understand. It's only when the attempt to understand falls away, it's seen in clarity that there's no choice. And there's no choice because this is already happening. And I'm not doing it. I can tell, if someone asks me, Jeff, are you talking? I could say, yeah. but it's a story. This is happening. This is oneness, and in that arises the story that I'm a person. I'm talking, I'm thinking, I'm breathing. That's a story. It's an assumption. It's not essentially real.
Could you explain a bit more what you mean by separation? I see you at a distance. There seems to be a distance between us. You seem to be over there, I seem to be over here. What do you mean by no separation?
There's undeniably there's this body and there's that body. And there appear to be separate things, separate objects. Actually, it's all one. It's all oneness, and in oneness arises the idea that I am a separate person with a past and a future. So, in the absence of that, you see, when that falls away, when the story of separation falls away, the story that I am a person over here, you're a person over there, I have a past, you have a past. Yeah, actually, of course, there's no past. There's just what's happening. And the past is always a story arising now. When that's seen in clarity, it doesn't mean that this body isn't here and that body isn't there. It doesn't mean that everything just collapses into a big mush. You still retain that ability to distinguish between apparent objects. I can say that's a table, this is a bench, this is a pair of trousers. That doesn't go. But also it's seen that all of that is just a story. It's a story we tell. And actually, really, in the absence of that story, there's no way of knowing what this is. There's no way of knowing what's happening here. Even to say it's all oneness. Even to say that, it's still a story. It might be the final story, but it's still a story. And in the absence of all that knowledge, in the absence of what's known, there's no way of knowing what this is, and you're always meeting it for the first time. Like a newborn baby. We're seeing this for the first time, and you have no words for it. And yes, in that we can start to tell our stories. I'm a person called Jeff, I'm sitting on a bench. We can tell that story. And yet it can still be seen that there's just oneness. And actually, ultimately, and this is the real meaning of the word non-duality, is that oneness is not separate from the apparent separate object. So, it appears as though there's a chair and grass and trees. This is oneness arising as these apparent separate things. Actually, it's all oneness.